by Charles Hinkle, who's fifth in the league with 21 points per game, along with as well a homecoming situation for Alex Superman Johnson, Rudolph Jolly, and new signee Wally Ellenson.
Well, Wally Ellenson, he was a Kangaroo Kid last year, and he's a Kangaroo Kid now. He will swoop in, go for those slam dunks, and do whatever it takes to make sure his team goes on to victory. He sacrifices his body, and that's good for the St. John's Edge, because when players like Carl English is out for a little bit, you can rely and put your money on Wally Ellenson.
We're going to see if that comes to play as well. One of the main factors as well, if you look at it, Randy Glaze is also somebody to watch from St. John's, about 13 points per game for him, as well as about 12 rebounds per game. So a huge rebounding force coming in from St. John.
Well, for St. John's, it's all about resiliency for them. They are one of the key teams that could provide clutch performances every day. We've seen them in their first few home games. They struck it rich in the clutch. We've seen Carl English in the first game against Island Storm knocking down the three. So this is a potential team for the championship, and you know the Windsor Express got their work cut out for them tonight.
And speaking of those Windsor Express, they're coming in 3-3, third in the Central Division so far tonight here in Windsor, Ontario. Leading the way for them, Maurice Jones, as well as Logan Stutz. 20 points per game about for each of them so far this season, and a phenomenal amount of minutes as well. 39.5 minutes per game for Maurice Jones. Logan Stutz about 37 minutes.
Well, let me tell you how deadly this 1-2 punch is for the Windsor Express. Maurice Jones, 20.3 points per game. And you know Logan Stutz compliments him because he's right behind him at 20.2 points per game. So Logan Stutz, he has all the firepower in the front court. Maurice Jones got that general stuff into him. So he leads on to the offense and everything. And considering how both of these clubs have been playing so far, it's been phenomenal how this 1-2 punch has been developing this year.
We're going to see as well, because there's also the third punch that's been coming up so far. Shaquille Keith, 16 points per game for him. He's also, last game against London, he was one of the many players shooting up the lights out against London, and what was a miracle game kind of in some way with some of the shots falling in that victory against Windsor, or against London.
Yeah, they shot with confidence, and they shot every contested shot they can, whether if it's shooting from the Budweiser Gardens logo or shooting it off the bank and calling it a bank. It's quite interesting that we bring up those three players because they're the only three guys that re-signed with the Windsor Express this year, but of course they also have a supporting cast that do some justice as well.
One of those players is Carly White, of course, coming in 12.7 points per game for this team, along with 9.7 rebounds. So also a good addition for this team. And speaking of those rebounds, Windsor has the advantage over St. John's by a few rebounds, about 48.5 rebounds per game. How do you think that's going to factor in how the rebounding works to try and box out St. John?
Well, the Windsor Express, they really got to think of this as a brand new game. Just because they shot very high for the London Lightning that game doesn't mean they're going to have the same stripes. So they got to really box out real hard as this clock goes down. It's game time, baby, so they got to pay attention to those rebounds.
And before we get going here, what are your quick keys to the game right here?
Go for the rebounds limit, Carl English, and make sure for both of these teams, make sure they retain a cool head because both of these clubs know how to deliver in the second half.
And with that, everybody, I'm Justin Prince, with me, Aaron Sanders. Aaron Sanders has to rush upstairs for color commentary. On the play-by-play call today is Brett Hedges, so be sure to stay tuned. Tip-off is just moments away here from the WF2 Center here in Windsor, Ontario.
And now let's introduce the starting lineup for the visiting St. John's Edge, presented by Tourism Windsor Essex, Peely Island. The starting five for the St. John's Edge. Number 3, Alex Johnson. Number 16, Rashawn Broaddus. Number 23, Carl English. Number 24, Charles Hinkle. And number 55, Randy
Hey, welcome in, folks. Welcome to the WFCU Center, the host venue for tonight's NBL Canada Clash between the Windsor Express and the St. John's Edge, the expansion franchise that is not playing like an expansion franchise. And a quarter of the way through the regular season, the St. John's Edge are 7-3, led by a pair of sharp shooting scorers and a rabid fan base. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Brett Hedges. I will be your play-by-play announcer for the evening, alongside my man beside me, Aaron Sanders. Aaron, the St. John's Edge make their first ever visit to the WFCU Center. It's a night of history for the league. Always awesome to see new franchises come in, and this expansion franchise has come in like gangbusters. 7-3 to start out the year. Just had their first division loss. It's going to be a lot to handle for the Windsor Express tonight, who just snapped a 3-game losing streak of their own with a big win last weekend.
Well, you know, the London Lightning, they did not know what they had in store for them that evening. I mean, we've seen Shaq Keith shooting the lights out along with Maurice Jones, Devin White, and Braylon Rayson supplying the three-point range over there, too. So going into tonight, the Windsor Express, they better not hope that all shots are going to go, because if there's one thing the Edge knows best is to capitalize, and we've seen them go off the road in the first few games and go out like gangbusters. So they know how to deliver in the clutch for the Windsor Express. They got a whole lot of firepower, but once again, like you said, this ain't an Edge team that is expansion worthy. It has a lot of veterans along the road, so both of these clubs are going to be looking to take home the whole kit and caboodle tonight and get one up against each other.
The St. John's Edge have two of the top 5 scorers in the league in their starting rotation, with Carl English being the number 2 scorer in the league, averaging 25 points per game, lighting it up from the 3-point line, 48% shooter from the field, 40 from 3, 84 from the free throw line. Pro's pro, really a guy that this team has been leaning on early on in the regular season.
Well, you know, he's a big guy. He knows what's expected of him and everything else, so he has that hustle, he has that determination, and he has ice water in his veins, not only at clutch situations, but for all 48 minutes of it being played here.
Game is underway. The St. John's Edge take over the opening possession on a 1 tip from Grandy Glaze. The St. John's Edge will start Alex Johnson, Rashawn Broadus, Carl English, Charles Hinkle, and Grandy Glaze in their top 5. And the opening bucket of the game goes to number 24, Charles Hinkle. He's the number 5 scorer in the league, averaging 21 points per game.
And he also won Player of the Week honors last week after putting on a superb display in both St. John's Edge victories in their first few games in the Mile 1 Center.
Hinkle also shooting. Here's Chad Frazier for a quick triple. No in and out of the bucket, and pushed up the floor by English. Going downstairs to Johnson. Hinkle's couldn't quite catch the pass from Glaze, so they'll reset the offense. Carl English going around a screen. Finds Glaze around the rim, and it's in for 2.
And you know, this is why Carl English is so deadly. When it comes to off-the-ball schematics right there, he knows how to establish a good play, and right there, that 1-2 punch right there to Grandy Glaze gets both of those players off and running into a very confident start in the early goings.
Shaq Keith for 3 off the heel. Shaq Keith made 4 3-pointers in a span of a few minutes against the London Lightning, as we see a blocking foul going to go against Shaq Keith. He's increased his 3-point production to 33% on the season, an added piece to his game that we've seen in the Express offense this year.
Well, do you think it's because of that game based on Saturday? Because he's still shooting from beyond what we call Steph Curry range, Brett, and he has that muscle power as you see him take his first foul in the game, so he knows what he could deliver right into the front court.
Carl English defended by Maurice Jones, poked away by Logan Stutz, number 3 of the Windsor Express. It'll be 14 seconds to shoot for the Edge. Alex Johnson will inbound from the far sideline. Shaq Keith checking him. There's Broadus. Looking, there's Hinkle. Blocked by Shaq Keith, but he gets it back. Quick pass over to Alex Johnson. He goes one-on-one with Maurice Jones off glass. No good. Jones comes up with it.
Once again, I'm not surprised that Superman Johnson spun all the way inside, because that's how he got his moniker, Superman swooping in as we get a foul.
Logan Stutz will draw a foul on Carl English. Drew some contact with the pump fake as he was trying to make his way to the cup. First foul of the evening for the St. John's Edge. Carl English is first. Shaq Keith will inbound the ball. One of our one of the protective paddings around the net came off, so they had to readjust that. Shaq Keith, the inbounder, 17 to shoot for the Windsor Express. Jones, who scored 28 points against the London Lightning on Saturday, swings it over to Keith. Jones was 4 or 5 from the three-point line. St. John's with a bit of a zone look here.
And they're still adjusting.
Devin White comes up with a loose ball, gives it away from Randy Glaze, and that's a big bucket for the Express, 4-2.
And you know, Devin White delivers what he can down to the post, and that's what the Windsor Express have improved on during the offseason. It's the presence in the post. They're boxing out, and they're taking it to the rim, and they're taking no questions on that. 3 on the way.
Henkel for 3. He's shooting the 3 ball at 48% of the year, and he makes it a 7-2 game for the St. John's Edge, 7-2. Chad Frazier on the wing, cuts it over to Shaq Keith for 3. That's off the mark. Rebounded by Henkel.
It was a good look for Keith, but he took a little bit too time to set up for that shot.
Johnson inside the Glaze, pump fakes once, twice, 3 times, kicks it out to Henkel. English defended by Jones. English cuts inside the three-point line, drives, draws contact, and will get the foul call. I'm not sure if it's going to go against Devin White. It is going to go against Devin White. It's going to be his first of the game.
But still, good presence from Devin White. And he shown over and over again since donning that Windsor Express red and black that he is capable to step up, sacrifice his body, and make sure nobody gets access to his neighborhood.
Carl English first free throw is good. Averaging 83% from the free throw line. Goes 2 for 2, does English.
I don't know if it's a note to boot, Brett, but I'm seeing a lot more confidence from not only the transition game, but from inside from the Windsor Express. Last year, that wasn't one of their vices and one of the reasons why they couldn't pass the postseason, but we're seeing a lot more confidence inside.
Charles Henkel going to be charged for reaching in on Maurice Jones, the St. John's bench. Thought they might have a turnover, but it will go against Henkel. Shaq Keith will inbound with 14 seconds to shoot on the possession. Maurice Jones over to White. Chad Frazier, who has entered into the starting lineup seamlessly over the past few games, swings it over to Jones. Frazier for 3. Yes, connects. Sends a big shot for Chad Frazier.
You know, those weren't the shots that looked good for him the last few nights, but he's finally getting onto the rage, and perfect timing for him to size up and step up.
Carl English going to do a turnaround J over the Maurice Jones, the smaller defender Jones. Misses and kicks it out to Devin White on the transition. In and out on the 3 ball from White. Carl English quickly up the floor. And that's a quick triple from Carl English.
And you could see the quick confidence in the St. John's Edge. That's what they do best. They will destroy you in the transition. Now, if they had Rashawn Brodus on the court, it would have been much more brutal on that end.
12-5, St. John's leads 4 minutes into the first quarter, and a cutting Chad Frazier gets a pass from Devin White for a quick bucket.
Quick 5 points from Frazier, so not a bad effort from him in the early goings of this game.
English loses it on the spin dribble. Maurice Jones in transition. Waiting for numbers. Kicks it out. No, he finds Logan Stutz cutting to the basket for 2.
And we mentioned this at the top of the show, Brett, me and JP, that Stutz and Jones is the 1-2 connection that's clicking on all cylinders.
Henkel, open 3, no good. That ball is going to go off the shin of Alex Johnson. It will be Windsor Express ball. St. John's leads 12-9, 7:28 to go here in the first quarter. Thanks for tuning in, folks, from wherever you are via the power of YouTube. Make sure you check in on the chat. Make sure you check in with us on social media to tell us how you're enjoying the game or where you're enjoying the game from. Maurice Jones for offense for Windsor. Chad Frazier on the quick J. That's good. 7 points for Chad Frazier.
You talk about seventh heaven, baby. Chad Frazier got all that it takes right now.
Johnson goes inside to Carl English. Henkel on the 3. Thought about it, but closed out by Devin White. Going to go back down inside to English. He's got the mismatch. He turned around jumper. It's good. Carl English once again.
See, he has the tools to do it. He recognized the mismatch, and he created more space for himself to pull up a high-quality J.
Devin White gives it over to Shaq Keith. He's going to go one-on-one with Carl English. He's got the baseline, goes baseline, squares up his shoulders, goes off glass, can't get it, but it will go into the hands of Maurice Jones. Thought about taking the three-point shot, but he will reset the offense. Over to Shaq Keith.
Once again, the zone being applied by the edge.
Logan Stutz going one-on-one. Back out to Shaq Keith from distance. Oh, off the mark. Couple of shots for the Windsor Express from distance, seeming just us rim out in the first quarter. Might have been a different play. Here's Broadus taking on the contact from Devin White, and he's going to be called for the foul. That's going to be Devin White's second.
You see, this is the player I came to see here tonight, Brett, when it comes to the opposition. Rashawn Broadus, he has what it takes. He provides in very, very crucial situations, and he has the muscle to carry on for the edge if Carl English can't get a shot or Superman Johnson going down low. So this is a guy you could rely on 24/7.
Carl English inbounds it, gets it back on the post-up. Going to go one-on-one with Maurice Jones. Finds Hinkle in the corner on the cross-court pass. Good for three. 16-11, 17-11 for the St. John's Edge.
It was all because Carl English took advantage of the mismatch in Maurice Jones. He cross-court that pass with smooth ease.
Maurice Jones cross-court passes Shaq Keith. He's going to go one-on-one with Grandy Glaze. It's going to go off a pair of feet. And it's going to last go off of Shaq Keith. 5:44 left in the first quarter. We're going to get a timeout. The St. John's Edge leads 17-11 over the Windsor Express here at the WFCU. Aaron?
You know, I like what I've seen so far, Brett, and the St. John's Edge, and for all those people out there that keep on saying, yes, St. John's a first-year team, it doesn't look like it. They're top title contenders, and they're showing it right now. If you have that good leadership of Carl English and that persistency of Alex Johnson, you're going to have a lot more supporting cast to help you along the way. We've seen Rashawn Broadus get into their rage, too, so I'm liking what they're seeing so far, but as for the Windsor Express, they really got to rely more on getting it down deep. Now, Shaq Keith, he's feeling a little bit disappointed that his shots weren't able to go, but there's a whole lot more space that he can take advantage of. You got Logan Stutz that's open inside, and he's willing to cross-court it to anybody. So when you have Devin White inside, that takes a lot of load off of Logan Stutz back. So they really got to initiate a very strong presence inside and shoot with confidence.
And there has to be something to be said about the St. John's Edge, the coaching staff coming in and doing a great job right off the hop. 10 names into the regular season. A name that we recognize as Windsor Express fans is Doug Plum, who's an assistant coach with the St. John's Edge. Helped out with the London Lightning last year, a very successful club, as you all remember. Helping out Jeff Dunlap, the head coach of the St. John's Edge, and really getting this team firing on all cylinders to start the regular season. I think a lot of due has to be given to the coaching staff of the St. John's Edge.
Well, first off, a quick shout out to everybody who's watching this broadcast from Newfoundland. Your team is doing well, but once again, to the coaching staff, Brett, to their credit, they have surprised a lot of people, and I talked to a couple of fans before the game. They already predicted Jeff Dunlap as the coach of the year, and they're 7-3.
And Carl English will get the friendly roll on the mid-range post-up. He's doing a great job there attacking that mismatch off the hop with a sharpshooter like Carl English.
Well, you got to penetrate the defense, which is one of the Windsor Express niches. They don't find a way to bounce back as Maurice Jones pulls up with the J.
Maurice Jones turned the corner at the elbow and fired up for two. It's 19-13 in favor of the Edge. Hinkle for three, his third of the first quarter. It's good.
Now, see, the Windsor Express, they got to know right from the gate that this is a team that shoots around 45, between 50% from the field. They got to space out on defense more if they want to make this an incredible matchup.
Braylon Rayson, number 2, the rookie out of Dallas, Texas, and Central Michigan University. Checking into the contest, Shaq Keith going to go one-on-one against Grandy Glaze. Off glass for 2, Shaq Keith.
You see, you know, if there's some things that don't work, you got to keep on applying some pressure on the team, and he drove right inside and penetrated into the defense, so that was a good play on him. But once again, they got to learn how to space out and go back on D.
Carl English is going to be assessed the offensive foul. Pardon me, yes, it is Carl English. His first, team third of the quarter, 4:35 to go here in the first. It's 22-15 in favor of the St. John's Edge. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Brett Hedges and Aaron Sanders on the call for you from the WFCU Center. Maurice Jones working on Broadus, lining up from the free throw line. It's good. What a razzle dazzle from Maurice Jones.
You know, he improved that craft right there in the off season because he knows how to get into those situations where he's pressured right at the baseline, and he knows how to drive now. So that's one of his improvements, offensive foul.
And former Windsor Express player Rudolph Jolie enters the game. Is going to be called for an offensive foul on his first touch. The big 6'10" man, former UQAM player out of Quebec. A big addition to the St. John's Edge team after Rudolph played overseas in the summer. Adds a lot of depth to the forward position. There's Logan Stutz getting a pass from Maurice Jones. He can't convert from the inside. Also checking into the contest, Aaron, number 21 for the Windsor Express, Desmond Huber.
Well, Desmond Huber, you know he's proud to be on part of this team. Another three, how about that?
They're going to call that a long two for Charles Hinkle, but that is already 13 points from Hinkle in this first quarter. His team's up 25-17 with 3:33 to go in the first.
But once again, you mentioned Desmond Huber. He is a key asset to the second string for the Windsor Express. He can warm up on occasion, and he knows how to work off the ball. So if he's able to put that down along with all the other players on the court, he'll be fine.
Shaq Keith goes one-on-one and finishes with the right hand on the left side for a quick 2 points. 25-19 in favor of the Edge. Broadus and Hinkle were trying to play a two-man game there. The pass is behind Broadus, and it will be Express ball. Chad Frazier's going to check into the contest. Logan Stutz will take a quick break. 25-19 in favor of the Edge. 3:11 to go in the first quarter.
We see Chad Frazier coming back in, Brett. He's 3 for 4 and 7 points. So that's another guy who could warm up for the Windsor Express, Jones.
Maurice Jones with the behind-the-back step-back jumper. 25-21 with another bucket from the reigning Rookie of the Year, who set a league record last year with 320 assists in a 40-game regular season. Wally Ellenson, number 33, former Windsor Express player, playing now for the St. John's Edge. Broadus going one-on-one, loses the ball momentarily, but gets it back, gets it over to Hinkle, step back three, long arching shot, no good. Rayson chases it down.
Oh, look out.
Pair of players going after the ball there, and it looked like Rayson went shoulder first.
And he's down on the floor. Oh, he's back up.
Broadus for three. No, the shot is off the mark. And it will be Express ball. Looked like maybe Rayson might have hurt his shoulder during that loose ball opportunity. You never want to see a player roll his shoulder. That's kind of a coach's nightmare, but good to see the Dallas, Texas boy getting up and getting back in this contest. He's Texas strong. He's got a strong shot from the three-point line as well, helping this Windsor Express squad early in the year.
Well, I was about to say, he's the main trigger man. He could warm up on occasion, but if his shoulder becomes a nagging factor, then they're going to have to switch to somebody else.
Shaq Heath with a quick face-up jumper. 2 minutes left to go in the quarter. That's going to be a turnover for the St. John's Edge. Driving to the cup was Jaron Skeet. Tried to find Rudolph Jolly on the block. It was knocked loose and then recollected by Skeet. His feet were on the baseline, so that's going to be a turnover. 1:55 to go here in the first quarter. Express down 25-21.
You see Rayson on the other end of the court, so expect him to get a cross-court pass and go for the shot.
Frazier going 1-on-3. Rudolph Jolly pokes the ball loose. Lee over to Jolly. Jaron Skeet directing traffic. Jerry and Henry going to go one-on-one with Maurice Jones. He loses the ball, but gets it back. Jaron Skeet with the open three off the heel. Chad Frazier with the rebound. And here come the Express. Coach Jones signaling over to Maurice Jones with 1:10 to go in the first quarter. Jones off the bounce, right hand on the left side. It's good for two.
Good recovery on the broken play for the Express. It all started on Shaq Keefe's attempt to steal the ball, and we've seen a lot of things happen right there, and it all worked out the Windsor Express way.
Rudolph Jolly in the low post, defended by Huber. Nice drop set from Jolly, but it's blocked from behind by Huber. On the run, Maurice Jones is going to be fouled as he was headmanning the play up to Braylon Rayson for a quick two. Michael Achampong will check into the contest now for Maurice Jones with 47 seconds to go in the first quarter. This is usually the only time that Maurice Jones gets a break. during games. You talked about it with Justin in the pregame. 39.5 minutes a game. That is incredible.
Well, it rises up to the occasion. It rises up to one of the reasons why the Windsor Express are well conditioned. Even on those tough road trips down east, they found a way to configure those minutes well and let the second string, have a chance to breathe on the court, as we see Atch and Pong on the court too.
Shaq Keith gets tied up from Jerry and Henry. He turns it over and will go the other way with 28 seconds to go here in the first. Shaq Keith is going to reach in on Jerry and Henry. He's going to look for a sub. That'll be the fourth foul for the Windsor Express of the quarter. And in one of those situations, a coach would rather have a player commit a foul like that than be overly tired and not be able to defend for a full 24 seconds. So in that way, you kind of live to play another set of offense.
Well, especially for the St. John's Edge, that play could have gone two ways. They could either go for a jumper or they could destroy them by penetrating the defense high to low.
Wally Ellenson going to the cup, misses the left hook, rebounded by Frazier, and he's going to slow it down. 6 seconds to go here in the quarter. Frazier for three, off the mark. Jerry and Henry with the rebound. He's not going to get the shot off in time. And that's going to be the end of the first quarter. The St. John's Edge 25, the Windsor Express 23. We're going to take a short break, come back and talk some stats and facts on the Windsor Express and get you some scores from out of town. We'll be right back with more Express basketball here on Express TV.
Just a reminder to our fans, smoking is only permitted in a designated smoking area located outside of the north exit across from section 104. The rest of the WFCU Center property is smoke-free. LaCasse Printing Company is the official sign printing partner of the Windsor
Welcome back,
Express.
folks. The WFCU Center second quarter action just about to start. We've got some out-of-town scores. Aaron, why don't you tell the fans what they're missing?
Well, we got a close game over there at the Harbor Station. The St. John Riptide hosting the Niagara River Lions, who are coming off a 20-point loss in PEI. St. John's up 58-56 with 3:18 to go. So far, the leading man for Niagara is Samuel Muldrow. 15 points, 3 boards, and 1 assist. And for St. John, on the other hand, the Gabe Freeman Show, 16, 8, and 2. And newcomer Merrick Esom leading the way with 19 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, as we see a shot missed by Braylon Rayson to start the second quarter. Brett Hedges.
A great first quarter between these two teams. 25-23, the St. John's Edge lead after 10 minutes of play. Lead scorers after 1 quarter of play for the Windsor Express. Maurice Jones with 8 points. And Aaron, why don't you tell the folks how the rest of the breakdown of scoring went for both teams?
Well, Charles Hinkle, leading man, 16 points. Carl English, slowly but surely getting up there to rise to the occasion with 7 points. Grandy Glaze has 2, so 3 players have scored for the Edge so far. And for the Windsor Express, nobody's hit double figures yet, but it's been the Maurice Jones show with 8 points, 3 assists, and 2 boards. Chad Frazier, 7. Shaq Keith, 4. He really got to rise up to the occasion and start going to the basket more. And Logan Stutz and Devin White is split with 2 points apiece. So 5 players scoring for the Express, 3 players scoring for the Edge, but still, both of these clubs are living on the edge as it's a 2-point cushion.
As if it was an Aerosmith song. Michael Achampong going to the free throw line for a pair after drawing a foul in the low post. A nice pump fake got the defender up in the air, and he was able to draw some contact, some stats of the first quarter, some team stats in the first quarter as Achampong misses the second free throw. Aaron, take it away.
And once again, the Windsor Express, they haven't made a free throw yet, but the Edge 100%. And then as for the field goals, a lot of these people shouldn't be surprised how the field goal's going because both of these clubs are shooting over 50%. St. John's have the edge by 6%, but as for the three-point range, it has been the St. John's show so far. And we talked about earlier in the show about how rebounds would factor. The Edge has a +3 in that contest. It's in the 7.
Thank you very much, Aaron. And nice up and under from Jerry and Henry. Unable to convert down low, Express will take over, trailing 25-23, 1 minute into the second quarter. Braylon racing on the far side of the court. A couple dribbles and a triple. It's good from Dallas, Texas.
Well, I don't know, Brett. I thought it was from San Antonio, Texas. But then again, you know who would know a thing or two about that. Gun-slinging abilities. That's what Braylon Racing provides to the Arsenal.
I'm going to talk about Texas. I'll leave you to it, but there's a turnover in the low post. Devin White over to Achampong on the run. Off glass, no good. Jerry and Henry rips it down and will bring the ball out for the Edge. Henry finding Glaze. And Glaze knocks it down from the middle of the key. Granny Glaze, one of the top field goal percentage in the league with 58%.
And that's one of the reasons why those high-quality shots equals up to a better opportunity for him, and he could pile up the scoreboard from here on out.
Devin White with a beautiful turnaround step-back jumper, and he gives the Windsor Express a lead once again. It's 28-27. That Braylon Racing triple giving the Windsor Express the lead. Now they're trading baskets as Wally Ellenson will set up the St. John's offense. As Chad Frazier tried to keep it from going out of bounds. St. John's will keep possession. Wally Ellenson was selected in the NBA G League draft this past year, being selected by the Oklahoma City Blues. Bounced around a bit, now he's with the St. John's Edge. We saw him a lot last year, was an NBL part of the NBL All-Rookie team. Aaron, what's kind of some of the game ways that he can affect games? Sorry.
Well, you know, he could destroy the post. He's one of those guys that he could jump up and he will attack every possession. He's known as the Kangaroo Kid for one reason, and one reason only, is to attack the basket in mid-air. So you got to watch out for him, and you got to box out on him and not get him in the paint.
There's Alex Superman Johnson for a triple. The Canadian, the former first overall pick in the NBL Canada draft a number of years ago. Helping out the St. John's Edge now as Chad Frazier over to Eric Parker. Devin White with a hesitation step will draw the foul on Jerry and Henry. It's going to be the second foul for the St. John's Edge of the quarter. 9:05 to go here in quarter number 2.
St. John's foul for 7, Jerry Henry.
Well, we see
and Logan Stutz. Logan Stutz coming back into the contest. Eric Parker, someone who's been a mainstay on this roster. Obviously someone who's very valuable in just his ability to add depth to the roster, stability, just an overall pro.
And he adds more support to the team after all these years. Big 3.
Grady Glaze will rip down that rebound, give it over to Alex Johnson. Carl English going to go after Maurice Jones once again. Off-balance jumper, Grady Glaze with the rebound. It's in 10 seconds to shoot. English once again.
Mismatch.
Turnaround jumper on the contact, no good. Devin White with the rebound. Maurice Jones over to Devin White. loses it, gets it back, pump fake, gets it to fall, gets a beautiful bounce off the glass and the rim. Tie game, 30 up.
And he took care of the open floor right there. Even though he lost the ball, he was still able to put that shot up, and it went in.
Carl English off the bounce. Off the glass, no good. Unable to get handled by Glaze. English looking for a call. It's going to go the other way. Charles Hinkle will check in for Wally Ellenson. And what a first quarter Hinkle had. 16 points, Aaron. Just attacking the score sheet with reckless abandon in the first quarter. Let's look at some of his stats from the first Q. As we go on the next possession here, just incredible there is Braylon Rayson at the three-point line, looking inside, gets it over to Stutz. Stutz against the smaller defender, Carl English. Coming over and maybe altering that shot was Jerian Henry. Looking for a call, not going to get it.
That was a good double team by the edge, and another steal by Maurice Jones. I got to say more about him after this possession, because what he does tonight is wonders.
Maurice Jones with the mid-range jumper. It's 32-30.
And you know, you mentioned he improved his game during the offseason, Brett, and this is one of those factors too, his ability to shoot with confidence and to play defense on anybody. We see usually the mismatch between him and Carl English, but that is his onus for the evening.
And there is English coming off the three-point line and nailing a triple. St. John's up 33-32. Chad Frazier saw an opening, so he's going to take it and knock down the mid-range jumper. 34-33, 7 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Jerian Henry down low, blocked by Devin White. Racing the other way. Unable to convert, but he will get it back. Unable to knock it down once again. The Express come up empty on that trip.
But they picked up on the intensity and hustle, and once again, that transition game has been working real well for the Express during this season.
Johnson using the screen to the right, going off glass for two. Beautiful take and beautiful take and make from Alex Superman Johnson.
And you see, he took advantage of the weak side right there, Brett. He went on his right side and attacked it, having his body shifted to the left, and all three Express defenders looked like a deer in headlights on that play.
Devin White on the triple. Braylon Rayson with a nice job finding him, driving baseline and kicking it to the wide open man on the corner. 37-35, Windsor leading the St. John's Edge. An exciting first half of play here, Aaron.
And once again, both of these clubs average around 105 points a game. The St. John's Edge 110, the Windsor Express 106. So no surprise that these guys are well on track of scoring 100 points during this game.
English kicks it out for Jerian Henry. He thought about it, gives it over to Hinkle, and that's a good decision. Hinkle makes his fifth three-ball of the game. Racing to respond. Oh, just off the rim, Jerian Henry.
Good rebuttal right there, because there were three defenders on the edge that wouldn't allow Racing to go inside.
And Hinkle will quick fire once again. That is his sixth triple of the first half.
Oh, baby.
22 points. St. John's up 41-37. Timeout called by the Windsor Express, and that's a good time because you don't want the St. John's Edge to get on a roll before halftime.
Well, if the folks of the league are watching, we might have a line of the night right here down at the 519, because if you allow Charles Hinkle or Carl English or Grandy Glaze to get into the scoring tear, then you're going to be in a load of trouble. The Windsor Express, they're doing a good job offensively, but defensively they haven't found any answers on the weak side. They're spreading out now, which was their problem in the first 12 minutes, but unfortunately, they're expecting somebody to go down to the post and contest the shots. They can't, because you're seeing Alex Johnson swoop in and go for more of those buckets more often. So you can't underestimate the offense of your opposition at all. You got to be prepared.
I'd have to agree. Just taking a look at some of the shooting stats of the first half. The Windsor Express, 17 of 33 so far in the first half. They're shooting a good clip. But the St. John's Edge are just being able to knock down those triples. 8 triples already in the first half. A number of big shots. 9 triples, 9 of 13 in the first quarter, first half for 69% That is a humongous number compared to 3 of 12 for the Windsor Express.
Oh, man, it's unbelievable. But once again, St. John knows their ways to space the floor out and get those shots off with confidence. And another thing, too, to mention, Brett, the Windsor Express, they have a thing or two in their arsenal, but unfortunately, they haven't been able to get those shots off the arc to go, like you said. But the rebounding game is going as expected, but unfortunately, the Edge has 15 defensive boards compared to the Express 7, so this is what leads up to it. St. John's providing more damage into the transition game than the Express usually does game after game, so you got to look in for that.
One thing we want to mention, it is Conductor Coltrane's birthday today, so if you guys want to wish him a happy birthday on social media, that's why we have some of our party patrol or some of our members, I don't even know what you would call them, our costumed entertainers here for the day. See a minion, and I want to see Justin, our halftime host, get a picture with some of those hosts. Maybe we'll get, if you guys request it on social media, we'll get Justin involved in some of those characters. Chad Frazier on the offensive set for Windsor, looking down low. Shaq Keith going to be called for the offensive foul. Alex Johnson doing a great job of planting those feet and taking the contact from Shaq.
Shaq's doing a good job rising up to the occasion inside, but unfortunately, he had enough space in him for the refs to call an offensive foul, so it was a good call, but Shaq, he really got to contain his power. A simple spin and get some space away for a jump hook would have sufficed. Oh, and by the way, one more thing about Coltrane's birthday, folks. Mention it in social media because you do not want to miss this golden opportunity. Thank you and good night.
Carl English on the offense for St. John's, working around a couple of Windsor Express players, finds Hinkle down low, gets it back from Hinkle for 3, connects. Carl English with 13 points now.
You know, he read the Windsor Express well. He's taken all that mojo from Saturday's game.
Chad Frazier will create contact on the baseline drive and will get a foul against Alex Johnson. Windsor will have possession on the baseline. 19 seconds to shoot. 4 minutes and 34 seconds to go here in the second quarter. Windsor trailing 44-37.
A good grapevine pick right there on the right side.
Frazier over to Jones for 3. Off the front rim, and it's going to be St. John's ball. 4:19 to go here in the second quarter. And that number is now 10 of 14, knocking down 3-point shots for the St. John's Edge. And that was kind of part of the scout for during this game, because if you don't compete early, as Grandy Glaze misses from inside, if you don't compete early with the St. John's Edge, they may shoot you out of the gym, so you got to be able to match their firepower early.
No, and their shot accuracy just does it justice as Frazier connects.
Chad Frazier gets the Windsor Express within 4 points with a big shot there, 44-30, with 3:45 left to go here in the second quarter. Alex Johnson on offense for St. John's. Finds a cutting Charles Hinkle. They're going to say it goes off of Logan Stutz and will stay with the Edge.
And the Express are lucky that play went askew as it did right there, because if they didn't have their backs turned, then the St. John Edge would have been left with an easy basket. There was only one defender in there and the other 4 were right outside. As we see a little confirmation.
Yeah, gonna have a foul. Away from the ball. Anthony Otley Jr. with that foul. Broadus tried to find a St. John's Edge player in the key, and it's going to be a turnover, and here comes Windsor. Chad Frazier finds a cutting Logan Stutz at the cut for 2. A beautiful find from Chad Frazier to Logan Stutz.
It was all because he stayed in his place right there on the defensive end, and he worked real well, and he was very effective on the transition.
Hinkle in the low post, defended by Devin White. Over to English, down low to the big man. He can't convert. That is Serchik on the hop. Chad Frazier can't get the bounce. Logan Stutz will collect the offensive rebound and will go to work down low. Reverse layup, it's good from the former league MVP.
See, he took advantage of the mismatch right there. Only 2 guys downstairs, and he just spun around, tightrope the sideline, and was able to knock it in.
Hinkle knocks down from the elbow, makes it a 46-44 game with 2:40 to go here in the second quarter.
Guys lighting up the scoreboards. There's been no answers for him.
Jones finds Logan Stutz at the three-point line. High-arching three-point shot, no good. Broadus up the floor. Slows it down, swings it over to... And it's good! Count the three-point shot. Charles Hinkle and one. He's going to have a chance for a four-point play.
This young man is unconscious, Brett. Charles Hinkle. When you think he doesn't have an opportunity to shoot, he still does. He's just putting on an amazing display so far, taking advantage of those open shots, taking advantage of the good mismatches. They'll still count the basket, but since it was away from the ball, they won't go to the line, or will they?
No, thank you very much for clarifying that. Yeah, they're going to call the foul away from the three-point shot. And we're going to have a timeout now with 1:30 to go. Just over 2 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Jeff Dunlap going to call his squad now. His team's up 49-44. A 1-minute timeout here on Express TV. Aaron?
I've never been impressed with the team so early on in the season than I have so far. That goes for both of these clubs. But St. John's, you expect them to come in, play at least their first 3 games on the road. They devoured all their opponents. The Windsor Express, they win their first 2, they dropped 3, and they had an amazing display on Saturday. Not knocking on them, but still, the Express got to really pick up on the defensive end. The St. John's edge, they're really finding holes in the defensive end on the part of the Windsor Express. So it's not been the Carl English show, it has been the Charles Hinkle show. So if you find a way to double team him, you might have a way to get the ball back on one end of the court.
Yeah, they're going to need to figure out something. Right now, Charles Hinkle, 27 points, 10 of 12 from the field, 7 of 9 from the three-point line. Not to mention 5 rebounds as well. So he has been unconscious, like you said, just shooting the ball extremely well. Maybe a big part of the second half adjustments that we see. I'm sure part of the conversation that's going on with Coach Bill Jones and his squad, but Jeff Dunlap and his squad playing at a very high level to start this game. 49-44 with 2:21 left in the second quarter. Windsor coming back onto the court now. Carl English will be the trigger man. Full 24 seconds shot clock for the St. John's Edge.
And you see Shaq Keith following Carl English, applying that Massillon defense. That might work wonders off the ball.
And Hinkle on the first possession coming out of the timeout knocks down his 8th triple. He's 8 of 10, and he's got 30 points, 52-44 St. John's.
You didn't hear that wrong, folks. 30 points for Hinkle. He is still loading up the scoreboard.
Hubert gives it over to Maurice Jones. Will dish it over to Jones. Jones draws a foul on Serchik.
The Windsor Express need all the help they can, Brett, because St. John's now, they only have one more foul to give. If they keep on applying that contact when they go to the basket or try to look for some ways to get the double team and go for that contact, they might be in for it. And I'll mention more of that when we approach the halftime show with JP Justin Prince.
1:45 remaining in the second quarter. Maurice Jones directing traffic for the Express. Rayson will shoot. He's off the mark. A long rebound goes out to Broadus. Hinkle in transition. No. A rare miss from Hinkle. Granny Glaze can't rip down the rebound. And Broadus will foul Maurice Jones as he crossed the three-point line. 1:21 to go here in the second quarter. 6th team foul for the St. John's Edge. 52-44 for the Edge. Anthony Otley Jr. will inbound. Racing on the far side of the court. Jones going to set up a high screen with Stutz on the run. Maurice Jones can't get it to fall. Good rebound from Hinkle over to Broadus. The long two, no good. Ripped away from Anthony Otley Jr. Quick pass up the floor from Jones to Stutz. Around the D, Stutz gets a nice bounce off the rim for two. 52-46, 45 seconds to go in the second. Hinkle, mid-range. It's good, 32 points. Oh my goodness, Charles Hinkle. 12 of 14 from the floor, 8 of 11 from three, 32 points. Stutz from three. It's good, and the Express needed that one. With 22 seconds remaining in the first half, the Windsor Express trail 54-49 against the St. John's Edge. Timeout called on the floor. We're going to step aside for just a few moments. We'll be right back with the end of the call for the second quarter here on Express.tv. Coming back out of the timeout. Hello, folks. And thanks for tuning in on YouTube, wherever you are at. Hello to our folks and fans out in Newfoundland and Labrador, checking in on the St. John's Edge. My goodness, they have had a fantastic first half led by the play of Charles Hinkle. 12 of 15 from the floor, 8 of 11 from three, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 foul. Oh yeah, 32 points in a 54-49 lead. And they're trying to squeeze one more possession out of this first half. Broadus. And a foul going to go against Hinkle for setting a screen away from the ball. So that's going to be offensive foul. Going to call him for a moving screen with 12 seconds to go. Coach Jones is going to call timeout now for the Windsor Express. 54-49 Express trail. They have possession now. It'll move into the front court, I believe, anyway. We're going to check in. Actually, I'm going to check on some scores from around the league. Keep you guys right here. One other game going on in the National Basketball League of Canada tonight. That game is going on in St. John, that being New Brunswick. The Niagara River Lions trailing the St. John's Riptide 85-84. Lead scorer for that game, Sam Muldrow for the Niagara River Lions with 25 points. And for the St. John Riptide, Merrick Isam with 25 points. Gabe Freeman has 21 and 11 as well over there. In this contest, the Windsor Express trail the St. John's Edge 54-49. We'll have 12 seconds to try and dig out a couple more points. Pretty solid first half of play for the Windsor Express, averaging over 106 points per game, right around their average at halftime. Let's go over some individual stats while we wait for the Express to come back on the floor. They will inbound just in front of their own bench. Charles Hinkle, like we said, 32 points, but for the Express, a pretty balanced effort. 12 points from Chad Frazier, 11 from Logan Stutz, 10 from Maurice Jones, 9 from Devin White. So let's see what they can do here with 12 seconds to go. Maurice Jones over to Rayson. Gonna try and find Rayson in the corner. Jones on the run. No good. You saw Desmond Hubert above the rim looking for a rebound. It rattles out, and the St. John's Edge will take a 5-point lead into halftime. 54-49 the score. Let's send it over to Justin Prince and Aaron Sanders for our halftime report.
Brad, as we are now back here for the halftime show here, Justin Prince alongside me is Aaron Sanders. As you're seeing with the score right behind you, right now it is the St. John's Heads currently on top at this point, 54-49 here at the Charles Hinkle, 32 points so far after the first half, 12 of 15 shooting. He's absolutely shooting the lights out for St. John's so far tonight.
First off, this guy is unconscious. Second off, the only reason why he's unconscious is because he's able to pick off the gaps in the defensive end for the Windsor Express. Third off, if you think that this is basically a repeat of what happened last Saturday for the Windsor Express, then you got to think another way, because that's how the St. John's Edge have been shooting lately. What the Windsor Express had last week, the St. John's Edge is having it this time. And you know, Charles Hinkle, he has the hot hand along with Carl English, so he's been shooting with confidence, to say the least.
That also, by the way, includes 8 triples, 8 for 11 from deep, as second leading scorer is Carl English right now. Also pointing out for the Windsor side, Chad Frazier leads the way right now with Logan Stutz following him with 11. Maurice Jones, 10 points along with 5 assists right now. So Windsor, they got some offense going as well. And as it's kind of expected, it's been a shootout so far.
Yes, it has been a shootout, but the problem is the defensive end. It's not the transition game that has been killing them. It's the fact that when they're in static defense, nobody's been able to penetrate, especially when it comes up to the weak side. That's why the St. John's Edge has been able to fire those shots at will, because a lot of people have been standing over there like they're deer in headlights, and nobody's been able to space out on the floor. Spacing out is one thing, but when you end up cluttering yourself, you're going to have 2 weak sides instead of 1. So you got to space out a lot of the floor more if you want to keep up with the St. John's team. And of course, you got to pick up your feet.
I definitely agree with you on that. And speaking of picking up on your feet, you got to pick up those rebounds as well, Aaron, because we're discussing how Windsor had the advantage over St. John's coming into tonight. Well, St. John's got the advantage. They have a +6 advantage on the boards, and that includes 19 defensive rebounds so far, as you mentioned, partially because of that spacing and partially because of how Windsor has shot 50% compared to St. John's 57.
And it goes back to the defensive boards too. One of the reasons too is because St. John's has 2 or 3 guys ready to get that board when the shot goes off the rim. On the offensive end, it's because of resiliency and persistency at its best. Especially if you have Wally Ellenson, even though he hasn't played a lot of minutes so far, you got to expect to play a full keen-on defense on him, because if he comes from the arc, if he misses a shot, comes in and he swoops in, you're in trouble. You have Alex Superman Johnson, who usually goes into the buckets. It's either that or Rashawn Brodus picking up the work. So you really got to pick up on the intensity for both clubs, because St. John, what you said, is out rebounding them a big load. So you got to take advantage of that.
We're going to have to get back to that in a few moments as well, because a lot of things to discuss as well for strategy potentially for the second half. But, of course, we're not the only game going on. There is one other game going on that's in the fourth quarter with about 3 minutes to go. It's an absolute shootout as well, 88-87. St. John Riptide right now over the Niagara River Lions. What are your thoughts on those two teams, as it is currently a similar situation where Niagara is shooting 54%, Riptide are shooting 49%, and it's already going down to the wire as well because of the usual suspects, Sammy Madro, Gabe Freeman, Malik Ism.
Well, you know, St. John, they're trying to avenge themselves after their first loss and everything. But I think I mentioned this over and over again in the telecast. It's hard to play at the Harbor Station because that's the best arena to have home court advantage too, especially if you have the Gabe Freeman show going on. So if you have him, if you have Merrick Esom putting on a storm, then you're in for a heap of trouble, because they're one of the best transition games in the NBLC, as indicated within the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, good thing to mention that, because Gabe Freeman's on double-double watch. In fact, he is on the double-double, 21 points, 11 rebounds. Also on double-double range right now, Horace Wormley with 14 points, 10 assists in that matchup. But what is something you've really liked about this Niagara team, which, because if you've been watching some of the Niagara broadcasts, Richard Petko's jumped on the past few games for the Riverline side and mentioned that they wanted to bring in a winning culture for this season, and they've been able to do that so far in the early going.
They brought in also a rebounding arsenal. I mean, look at Carl Hall, look at Marvell Wade. Carl and Sam Mojo presides a block party, so it all comes down inside. On the other end, you got all these other guards like Guillaume Boucard, who's really doing damage along wherever he goes. And plus with Joe Razzo coming in, a veteran coach coming straight from the university and all that other stuff, you know, it goes to show once again that, you know, despite this may be a new look for a team, it doesn't mean that they could take advantage and take over the league like how the Moncton Magic has done and like how the St. John's Edge has been doing. So the way I see the direction of this team so far, nowhere but up, because they got these players that can really strike it rich.
I definitely agree with you, and we'll see if they can continue to strike it rich. By the way, they've struck to a tie point game, tied up at 88 apiece with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go right there at Harbor Station. But let's swing it back from the Harbor Station, right from Seaport, right back to the WFCU Center. As right now we're coming towards the second half. Let's get to your main points, Aaron, because right now, as mentioned, it has been the Charles Hinkle show essentially on offense. If you're Windsor, how do you stop him at this point?
If you're the Windsor Express, plain and simple, triple or double team. But at the same time, space out on the defensive end and make sure there's somebody there at the paint that could actually contest those shots. There have been so many times along the way where we have seen Action Pong or Shaq Keith be aggressive on the boards. That's a good thing. But now you really got to step in, go at the top, double team, and start that transition game up again. Offensively, keep on going to the hole. The three-point range has been working for the Express so far. So, you know what, keep on pushing the ball, keep on using that good ball rotation, and go right down the line and attack them where it hurts. Inside in the post.
We'll have to see if they follow that advice as well. But what do you do if you're St. John to keep yourself in this lead? Because it's still a 5-point game, and essentially, how do you react to, let's say, those kind of adjustments you have to expect out of the first half?
Well, you can't simply say, you know, keep on playing how you're playing. Charles Hinkle show, right? Yeah. But once again, we've seen a lot of players come into these situations. With Sean Brodus, whether with his monstrosity steals and all those other blocks. You see Carl English, of course, he's one of the mainstays for St. John's now. But you know what? You have all these other players. Let them play. Swing the ball around to them, have the advantage to take control of it, and make sure you go down to the paint as well. But if the shot's still going, keep on going for those hot spots, because the way the Windsor Express defense has been going, they're going to keep on moving until they find a double team. You can't do it with the St. John's Edge because they will stay on their feet and they will move and they will shoot with confidence off the ball.
So let's say that Windsor somehow finds a way to slow down Charles Hinkle. Who do you have as that second option step up? Do you have a Carl English? Do you have someone come off the bench like a Wally Ellenson, someone like that?
Well, for Carl English, he has a mismatch with Maurice Jones right now. He's been doing a good job taking advantage of that mismatch, so you could go for him. Second of all, as far as the bench is concerned, one of the most conditioned benches around in the NBLC, so you could rely on the bench. But if the game gets any more closer than that, stick to your guns. English, Brodus, Johnson, and if Wally Ellison finds his way to get into the void, then by all means use him, because he has a lot of vertical into him, and he could take over the game at will, as we see him do it in the red and black last year.
And we're going to see what happens once we get going here in the second half. By the way, as well, Aaron, it is the birthday day today for Coltrane, as they were holding birthday celebrations prior to tip-off. So everyone's in a bit of a celebratory mood. Everybody wants to possibly celebrate a victory here as well.
Well, I'll tell you this, folks. Like he said, it's Coltrane's birthday. Go out on social media and share this joyous occasion, because you do not want to miss this golden opportunity.
I see what you did there with the Colden. But now we are going to go from Colden to a warming here as the rest of the fans get all set to go here at the WFCU Center. Once again, score 54-49, St. John's Edge over the Windsor Express after one half of play. We're about to get it back underway here as we are just about set to go. Once again, Brett Hedges and Aaron Sanders have the call once we go back upstairs. And we will see you right after this halftime show here from Windsor, Ontario. Once again, St. John's leads 54-49.
information. I believe the record, don't quote me, I believe it's 11, but we'll wait from Chuck Miller and perhaps the odd man if they know that for sure. The opening 57-49 for St. John's Edge as we see an interior pass broken away by the edge. Here comes Carl English. Johnson for three off the heel. Granny Glaze will get the rebound, but it's knocked away by Maurice Jones. 11:28 left in the third quarter as we all join us here. As Aaron, do you have an update for us?
Well, I have an update and a couple of inquiries, but yeah, St. John and Niagara River Lions are going down at it. They're going to come right down to the wire with it. So after this possession, I will update the folks on how that game is going.
Carl English misses the jumper. The turnaround jumper on the baseline. He had 13 first half points before that bucket to start the first half. 16 in the game. Balanced score for the Windsor Express. 3 people in double digits. Devin White with 9 as we see a nice play from Broadus there, or Broadus. Back and forth to Alex Johnson for 2. Superman Johnson at the cup.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's Superman Johnson's game. They go off the fast break and contest every one of those shots.
Frazier at the elbow, kicks it out to Shaq Keith.
No.
And it's good.
Really?
Shaq Keith been working on that 3-ball all year long. That's a big shot for the Express. Down by double digits now, just 7.
And you know, this was the same situation where he caught fire last week in London. Carl English.
59-52 for St. John's. 10:20 to go here in the third quarter. Chad Frazier finds an opening, finds Shaq Keith for 3. Once again, yes. Back-to-back 3 balls from Shaq Keith makes it 59-54.
Earth to Shaq, can you hear me? Same spot too, that's his hot spot. The Edge better look out for that.
Devin White comes up with a steal there, and Chad Frazier leads the offense up the floor. Shaq Keith, is he going to try for another? Going to go one-on-one with Granny Glaze. He's got the speed here. Going to his right, to his left, off glass. Offensive rebound from Devin White. Count the basket in the foul, and 1.
You know, the Windsor Express are in the vernacular feeling themselves right now. 8 straight points on the last 3 possessions. That's got to be good on their ratio by the end of the night because they've cut the lead down to 2. It was all because of Shaq's shooting confidence and Devin White completing the job right there. Incidentally, Brett, final score at the Harbor Station, the River Lions, they redeemed themselves on the East, 97-95. Hats off to them after losing by 20 in PEI. So this was a well-deserved win, and now they're within the first and second place in the Central Division.
And how good have the River Lions been this year? Windsor unable to scratch even dent the armor when they went over to Meridian Center earlier this year. Going to make for a really exciting Central Division as we see a missed free throw there from Devin White. Makes it 59-57 with 9:40 to go here in the third. Carl English cuts between the defenders. Can't get the ball to drop. Devin White will lead the fast break.
Devin White has woken up the Express defense just like that.
Chad Frazier off glass with the left hand. It's good. 59-59 with 9:20 to go here in the third.
And now JP and I talked about at halftime, if they were able to shut down Charles Hinkle, who would they go to? They would go to Carl English because he's old reliable and he has the ability to shoot on contested shots and find an open look for somebody else.
Hinkle goes off front rim on that 3-ball attempt. A rare miss from 3 in this game. 32 first half points. My goodness, Aaron. I'm sure defending him was a big part of the conversation at halftime for Bill Jones and the Express.
Well, absolutely, because when it comes to high caliber teams like this, you can't leave anybody open.
Logan Stutz can't knock down the triple after a fine from Shaq Keith. Carl English finding Hinkle down low. Quick ball movement over to Glaze. Up and under. The big man can't get it to convert, though. Devin White with the rebound. Logan Stutz going to go one-on-one with Hinkle. Drop step, squares up, blocked by Hinkle. Great job by Charles Hinkle. Now they're going the other way. English finds Glaze. That's tapped away by Shaq Keith.
Couldn't beat the double team on the mid-range game.
Jones, that shot's blocked by Alex Johnson and will be Express ball. with 8:09 left here in the third quarter. It's a 59-59 game. We're going to have our timeout, first timeout of the second half. We're going to stick it right here, and we're going to have a quick conversation with Aaron. Obviously, a lot to kind of unpack here in the first little bits of the second half. A 5-0 run to start the second half by St. John's. Well answered by the Windsor Express as they now have a 10-0 run to tie the game up, 59-59.
It all started with the 8-0 run. Shaq Keys connecting on back-to-back threes. And then you see Devin White getting into the fold, waking up both the Windsor Express offense and defense. So on both ends of the court, he's been doing real well. But first, I got to give credit to Grandy Glaze right there. That pseudo dream shake right there was a stroke of genius. And if I do not see that in the top plays of December, I will duly note that is one of the most underrated plays, especially inside the basket. The Edge doing all they can to shut down Windsor, but Windsor has got their number. They came out rejuvenated and revitalized out of recess, so the Windsor Express are doing what we talked about at halftime, Brett, really waking up defensively, applying the double team on Charles Hinkle, and have been able to score on the fast break, so they have been killing it.
A slight adjustment. They made a halftime adjustment that Hinkle is 11 of 15 from the field and 8 of 12 from 3, so he has 30 points at halftime. Because he did not go to the free throw line at all, so they're going to say 30 points at halftime instead of 32 that was earlier reported. To get to my point, only 4 members of the St. John's Edge have scored so far, as we see a quick 3 from Shaq Keith coming out of the timeout. If the Express are able to maybe force Hinkle and Carl English into some tough shots late in games, they may be able to pull out a win here.
That's one of the things they improved over the offseason, Brett, and you know, that high-range defense right there is very important for them because it established a good game from one end to a quarter to another, and they have improved on that gratefully.
Chad Frazier will slow up the offense, give it over to Shaq Keith on a reversal. We're looking inside to Logan Stutz. He's matched up with Hinkle.
Oh, wait a minute.
They got mixed up there, and Logan Stutz got free, and they're going to have a technical foul against Charles Hinkle. He got tied up with Logan Stutz in the previous defensive possession.
Now, he believed right there that he got hit hard, but you know what? That's not what they said, but we'll think of something else. But it was a good take for the Express, but got a little bit excited right there, but still, it's a close game. You got to keep a cool head because you never know. Both of these clubs average around 107 points per game.
Yep.
I get that, but if you are in a scoring range, keep on doing that. Use your aggression to take those shots, but don't go all willy-nilly to do it.
Maurice Jones at the free throw line knocks down the free throw. Charles Hinkle having a conversation with our lead official, Jeff Vassell, said, hey, I believe the official has every right to those officials have the toughest job in the entire arena tonight, so I will never, ever, ever disagree with an official's comment because their eyes are right there.
Absolutely not. And to quote Mitch Kobe K, our colleague, we're up here and they're down there, so they got a better look at it.
Chad Frazier for 3, and that's how a spin right there can swing the momentum. 6 straight points for the Express now, and they're up 65-64. Carl English on the curl, rebounded by Logan Stutz, and here come the Express. Quick pass over to Shaq Keith. Oh, that ball is picked off by Jerry and Henry, and then he turns it right over to Maurice Jones. But Maurice will quickly put it up to Frazier.
Uh-oh.
Shaq's got an open lane, and he's good for 2.
Shaq's feeling himself. He's on fire right now, Brett.
And what a swing of momentum, as we said.
Well, he's doing what the Edge have taken advantage of in the first half, is observe the weak side and go right at it.
67-59 for the Express. 6:30 to go here in the third. Hinkle off balance, got some contact. Kick out to Johnson for the 2, and it's good.
No, he was asking for it. So much clutter for both ends down inside, and he was open right in the center.
Coming the other way, it's Carl English with a quick fire 3. Unable to connect, but Chad Frazier rips down that board and will bring it up the floor.
You see, Shaq Keith threw Carl English off because he thought he had the open shot, but here he comes with his presence and just throws everything off.
Chad Frazier Misses inside. Devin White with the rebound. He's going to be fouled on the second opportunity. One thing I will say, Aaron, there has been an incredible amount of intensity and a lot of athleticism and competition on the floor in this game so far.
Well, it's all because of second chance opportunities. If it's not St. John's taking care of the responsibility, it's the Windsor Express on the other end, and so far for the second half it has been going the Express favor because they know they had to wake up, they had to observe those mismatches. Maurice Jones is doing real good off the ball, but you're seeing a lot of players rise up to the occasion. Logan Stutz, Chad Frazier warming up to the occasion, so is Shaq Keith. So when you have all those players, especially from the second string coming in, it's just going to show that the bottom line is you could really rely on the bench if your star players are tired, because once again, you mentioned Maurice Jones averages about 39 minutes a game. So he got a lot of help in the backcourt department, and it's been showing up tonight.
Devin White knocks down a pair at 69-61 midway through the fourth quarter. 5:45 left in the third to be exact, as Carl English dishes and finds Superman Johnson. In the corner, it's Lee. Ooh. Off the mark on the three ball.
That is flat as day old soda, Brett.
Maurice Jones finds an area, kicks it out to Frazier. Will reset the offense. 15 to shoot. Frazier driving, kicking, racing for three. It's good from Big D, Dallas, Texas native, Braylon racing for three.
And he took advantage of the 2-3 zone right there. They stayed static on the whole play in the ball rotation, so Racing took it in his own hands.
Henry looking down low. Poked away by Chad Frazier. The Express leads 72-61, 5 minutes to go here in the third. They're going to slow it down now as Maurice Jones. Defended by Lee.
2-1-2 zone right now, Brett.
Frazier going to go one-on-one with Henry. Knocks down the step-back jumper, and you saw Coach Jones point out to Maurice, get it to Chad. He's got the one-on-one. He's feeling it right now.
I think he turned his ankles into pretzels. My goodness.
Here comes St. John's, looking to get their offense rolling as Carl English can't get the shot to fall off glass. And a foul going to be committed by Jerry and Henry. Jerry and Henry.
Look out. Hold on. Wait a minute. Be careful now. Now, Brett, all that shoving right there is unnecessary. There's still a lot of time.
This is just frustration right now. The St. John's Edge had a fantastic first half. In the first 7 minutes of the third quarter, they've got 2 points. Or sorry, they've got 7 points. They scored 54-49 and a half. They scored 7 points. Uncharacteristic. They've given up 15 points already on defense. So, 25 points. I apologize for my numbers being off there. 54-49 and a half. They've already given up 25 points as opposed to 7. There's got to be some frustration settling in, and that's what that was right there.
But look, remember what I said earlier about the aggression? Use that on your shots and on the defense too. You don't have to have those after-play schematics right there. It's just shenanigans. You don't need that. You still got a close game. You got a quarter and a half to go. Do something about it.
Stutz on the pick and pop for three. It's good.
I like that play right there. That's a top tenner.
77-61 with 4 minutes to go here in the third quarter. St. John's looking to respond. Here's Rudolph Jolie finding a cutting Carl English, and he draws the foul. I believe that one's going to go against Maurice.
So, Brett, I want you to pay attention to who's on the court for the Edge right now. We got 3 of the 5 players that used to play for the Windsor Express. I mentioned this in the pre-game show. This is a homecoming game for these guys. Superman Johnson did all he can back in 2016. Rudolph Jarley, same thing. Wally Ellenson, the Kangaroo Kid right there. So it's going to be interesting to see how these former Express players work out in this new team down east where they have to defend the rock, and they got to do it quick.
It seems that is all every player that, or if there's a player that has Express attached to their former name, they're a solid pro that have come through here. It just goes to show if Coach Bill Jones, if you're playing for Coach Bill, he's going to expect a lot out of you, especially defensively. So maybe those are some of the characteristics that we can expect as we see Braylon racing for three from distance. Big D, Braylon racing for three.
Now, he have shot it from Dallas, from Houston, from San Antonio. That was down in New Braunfels, Texas. What a block.
Block from Devin White leading up the fast break. Once again.
No. Oh,
Yes,
no.
3 for 3 from Braylon Rayson. The slick shooter.
That wasn't from Texas, Brett. That was from the Tecumseh area. And boy, howdy, he is killing it.
And the Express are up 83 to 63. 3:05 to go here in the third quarter. Johnson finding Jolly down low. Off glass. Wally Allenson was trying to soar in for the putback slam, but Jolly's going to go to the free throw line for two. What an explosive beginning to the third quarter for the Windsor Express, Aaron.
You know, first off, that was an ill-advised pass right there from Johnson, but he was able to get it down to Jolly. I mean, good anticipation from him. But the Windsor Express from the other end, my goodness. What do we say over and over again? The fast break game could make you or break you, and it's been making the Windsor Express a formidable opponent. Thus, they're getting that 20-point lead right now. They picked it up defensively. Even though with the mismatches, they're creating a lot of clutter on the defensive end. No weak sides attached because the St. John's Edge got one mission to do and one onus, and that is to attack the basket. So good on them.
Rudolph Jolly going back to the free throw line, knocking down the first. Windsor Express in the first 9 minutes of the first half have scored 34 points, making it 83 to 64. Charles Hinkle battling for that offensive rebound, and he gets it, and the St. John's Edge will go back to work. Jolly from the mid-range. He can't knock it down on the rebound. Lee not going to get a call, and now he's going to get teed up. And he's going to get ejected.
He's gone. You see, he let his emotions get the best of him, and I don't like that. You got aggression, use it on the defensive end. You don't need to take it out on the ref.
The official, Paul Carter, standing up for himself and escorting Mr. Telling him to hit the showers for the night. Desmond Lee.
He didn't see it. It was a good call, Brett. It was a good call.
So Maurice Jones will go to the free throw line. Jeff Dunlap is going to have to send in a sub. That's going to be Wally Ellenson. The Kangaroo Kid, as the aforementioned, the brother of Henry Ellenson, the Detroit Pistons first-round draft pick a couple years ago. Had to learn from his older brother, right?
Yeah.
Marquette graduate. Wally actually holds the high jump record at Marquette University. Was a two-sport athlete there as well as playing for the Golden Eagles basketball team. So a lot of athleticism that just goes to show he can hurt you if he gets the opportunity.
Well, what more do you expect from the Ellison family? They're well known around the Midwestern area with their athleticism. All the kids and offsprings that came from the Ellison family has gone off to succeed. And we got two good basketball players in Henry and Wally Ellenson. So I'm sure Wally's making Henry proud and vice versa because both of them are playing, well, almost within the same vicinity.
Yep.
But we see Wally Ellenson. It's still kind of weird to see him in that blue and yellow as opposed to the red and black. But, you know, I knew he wouldn't be gone from the NBLC frame for a long time.
Yeah, you were about to say it's unfortunate to see him in blue and yellow as opposed to red and white, but it's good to see him in an NBL Canada jersey representing our league and being probably one of the better athletes in our league. As we see, Achampong will inbound for the Windsor Express. They're up 84 to 64 with 2:47 to go here in the third quarter. Thanks for tuning in from wherever you are, folks, especially to our fans in Newfoundland and Labrador. Thanks for tuning in from the WFCU Center in Windsor. Brett Hedges and Aaron Sanders on the call for you. And the NBL Canada, Braylon Rayson. Over to Achampong for three, and it's good. They seen the Express have caught fire, Aaron.
Oh, boy. No, not only they caught fire and ice because they are delivering damage to the edge, and they have been frozen. We got a holding call right here.
Yeah, Mike Achampong is going to be called for a hold away from the play. He's defending Carl English, a tough job for sure. A quick point update for the St. John's Edge. Still 30 points from Hinkle. No baskets from him in the third quarter so far. Carl English has 20 points. Alex Johnson now with 9. As they trail by 23, Logan Setz will come into the contest for Anthony Otley Jr. And Aaron, the forward position is somewhere that we talked about. Maybe Windsor will have to get a lot of mileage out of a few players because of the buyout from Robert Nortman. Sorry, as we see a turnover there from Braylon Rayson over to Anthony Otley Jr. Slams it down for 2.
Wow. Well, now, if that doesn't get off your feet, I don't know what will.
89-64, 2 minutes to go here in the third. The Express seem to be rolling, and the St. John's Edge looking to get back into it. Charles Hinkle gets a foul call.
Oh, my. Are they going to count that, Brett?
And it is good. St. Charles Hinkle gets the bounce. And maybe that can be the bounce that helps the St. John's Edge get themselves back into this contest here with 1:49 left to go here in the third quarter. Hinkle with a fantastic first half, knocking down 8 3-balls for 30 points. There's his first bucket of the second half. Knocking it down the old school 3-point play. It's 89-67 in favor of the Windsor Express with 1:45 left in the third quarter.
One 3-1 applied by the Edge, broken up now.
Maurice Jones, defended by Broadus. To his right, off the bounce. Anthony Otley Jr. can't collect it. Coming the other way, Carl English to cutting Wally Ellenson for 2.
You see, Wally Ellison is also brutal on the backdoor option too, Brett. Because once again, that vertical, that speed, it's going to get him everywhere.
Alex Johnson is going to come back in for St. John's shortly. Braylon Rayson at the 3-point line. Step back 3, can he get it? Off the rim. Going to go out of bounds. 1 minute left to go here in the third quarter. Windsor up 89-69. 58.5 to go as we see some substitutions. Hey folks, if you want to get in touch with Aaron Sanders or JP, Justin Prince on social media, Aaron, where can you find them?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at @SandersWindsor, and you can follow JP at JustinPSports. We love to hear from you, and we appreciate your interaction here this evening as well, the whole NBL Canada Nation.
Alex Johnson with a pump fake, got Achampong on his hip, draws the foul, nearly had the and one. Alex Superman Johnson, a former first overall draft pick in the NBL Canada draft. Back in 2011, member of the Ottawa Skyhawks.
And
there's a trivia question there for you.
Yeah, there you go, folks. And not to mention, he was also part of the Mississauga Power and all that other stuff. And then he joined us and put on an amazing display in the second half of the 2016 season. It was a memorable season, to say the least, and I was glad that he was a part of it, too.
As we see an end line violation by Anthony Otley Jr., the pressure by Johnson causing a turnover there, getting Anthony Otley Jr. in between just in between two decisions there. Now they're going to have to play defenses. Hinkle on the catch and shoot. It's good for 3, and that's one person you don't want to let get hot. It's a 15-point game now, 89-74, with 33 seconds to go in the quarter. He was all alone on that inbounds play, and you usually think the trigger man would be the deadliest man right there. No, Hinkle had his number. Turnaround jumper from Maurice Jones is no good. Hinkle on the run to Johnson, finds the open man. It's Ellenson off the front rim, and the Express get bailed out there. It's a wide open look from Ellenson. 8 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Jones at the free throw line, high arching shot, challenge at the rim, and that's going to be in the third quarter. 89-74, the Windsor Express lead the St. John's Edge. We'll be back with some stats and facts and some other news from around the league when we return. We'll be right back with more Express basketball on NBL Canada TV. Welcome back, folks. We're just a few moments away from the fourth quarter action between the Windsor Express and the St. John's Edge. But first, let's take a look out of town at some of our scores from earlier tonight. Some of our high performers. Aaron, take it away.
Once again, a final at the Arbor Station. The River Lions redeemed themselves after last night, 97-95, moved their record up to 5-4, and the Riptide still in losing ways, but still a powerful team. Jalen Tate, of all people, for the River Lions, a double-double, 13 assists, 12 points, and 1 steely dooey from him. And then in addition to that, another person that was on double-double watch was, of course, Gabe Freeman, one of the long mainstays in the NBL Canada. 23 points, 11 boards, 2 dimes, and 1 steal. And Horace Wormley, a guy that I've seen improve since last year, 14 points, 11 dimes, and 5 boards to his name. It was a really good game, but once again, the River Lions retaining a lot of high expectations for them, and for the Riptide, they dropped now at least 2 in a row, so that doesn't look good on their resume, but both clubs put on a wonderful show, as the Express and the Edge are doing right now.
Thank you very much, Aaron. The Windsor Express up 89-74 over the St. John's Edge after 3 quarters of play. Braylon Rayson, who knocked down 3 triples in that third quarter, on the run to start, and he finds a cutting Devin White for 2.
Aren't those high-low passes a beautiful thing right there, Brett? And on top of that, he did it in mid-range, too, in traffic. That was amazing. Big cut down to the lane, and here comes the fast break opportunity for the Express.
Desmond Hubert on the offensive rebound, kicks it out to Braylon Rayson for 3. No good. Wally Ellenson soaring in to grab that rebound. Braylon Rayson steps in.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Thought Alex Johnson got all ball there, but a great effort on both sides as Braylon Rayson comes up with a steal. Alex Johnson with a good defensive play, but Rayson will go to the free throw line.
Good sense of urgency right there for Superman Johnson. Maybe too much hands in the cookie jar right there for him, but he was able to swoop in, like his name, folks, Superman, and rise to the occasion. Now Braylon Rayson's going to go to the line. He too has been unconscious too, Brett, when you look at it. You got Devin White on the floor right now. Desmond Hubert's on the court as well, but Shaq Keith, I got to tip my hat off to him. He was starting ice cold at the beginning of the game, and now he's warming up as a rebound is made by Wally Ellenson.
Johnson at the helm for St. John's. Over to English. Can't convert on the curl as Devin White secures the rebound to Braylon Rayson. Jones. 13 seconds to shoot. Defended by Ellenson. Finds White in the corner. Quick fire. Off the heel. Hubert challenged on the rebound. That's going to be last touched by Hinkle. And it will be Express ball.
That was a good head fake right there by Maurice Jones. A lot of people thought that Hubert was going to come in for the high pick for him, but no, he was able to throw off the edge defense and go for that cross-court pass. Once again, mind games are a crucial asset when you play basketball here.
And on the inbound, it's a turnover. Here comes the St. John Edge. Wally Ellenson, but the follow-up is good by Grandy Glaze. Just got hung up on the rim there, but a following Granny Glaze falls up for 2. It's a 16-point game, 92-76. Just over 10 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Thanks for tuning in, folks. For wherever you are, Devin White with the ball now. Loses it. English collects, and here come the Edge. Looking to go on a run. Hinkle, who had a fantastic first half, loses it, and we're going to have a push on Devin White. That's been a fantastic matchup all night. Charles Hinkle and Devin White. 8 first half 3 balls from Hinkle. Thanks to Chuck Miller checking in with us on our live chat. We know that the record for 3 balls in a game is 13 by Ryan Anderson of the London Lightning.
I would expect anything less from the guy that provides the cool stats of the day.
And that ball is going to be last touched by the Windsor Express. It will be St. John's ball. Windsor up 92-76 with 9:58 to go here in the fourth. Johnson on the inbounds. Gives it to Ellenson. He collects. That nice. Comes over and blocked by Hubert. Rayson kicks out to White. Off the heel on the 3-ball. Johnson quickly up the floor to Ellenson. Quickly shoots. Oh, can't get it to fall. A number of great looks from the St. John's Edge in the second half. Unfortunately, just haven't been able to convert at a high rate, Aaron.
Once again, they have the sense of urgency, but once again, they're trying to apply to the three-point shot. They're down 16. I understand that, but once again, the Windsor Express has been 2 steps ahead of them defensively, and whatever Bill Jones said at halftime, it's really working right now because look at the scoreboard. I don't think the St. John's Edge has experienced anything like this in this young season, but once again, this won't be the last time these two teams will meet up.
No, as we St. John's is playing in the Central Division this year, evening up the divisions to 5-5, so we'll see this team a number of times throughout the year. We'll have to visit them out in Newfoundland also. I'm looking forward to seeing that. They packed the Mile 1 Center, which is amazing to see. Great fan support in Newfoundland.
You might as well call it 2 Center because the intensity over there has been uprising, undefeated at home. So you defend the rock, you're going to defend much more of that. So
there's Charles Hinkle with another 3-point shot, getting his team within 13. It's 92-79. 9 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Hinkle continues to light it up. Stutz in the low post, defended by Jerry and Henry. Taking his time down low, regathers, crosses over, loses it. Hinkle's got the ball. Hinkle crosses the timeline, gives it over to Skeet. English will slow things down, look for an open shot, crosses over to his left, goes back, step back, short. Hinkle's got the rebound, puts up the long shot, just short. Thought that might have gone in once again. Jones will slow it up for Stutz. He steps into his office, the 3-point line straight away, and he can't convert. It's a 13-point game, 92-79. 8:25 to go here in the fourth. A cutting Charles Hinkle gets the ball and draws the foul. That's going to go against Chad Fraser, who is defending Hinkle. That's going to be St. John's ball on the Windsor baseline. Windsor Express coach Bill Jones going to send in Shaquille Keith for Braylon Rayson.
Well, maybe that's good on Bill Jones's part because now St. John's got the depth all intact.
And Granny Glaze fighting through a pair of Windsor Express defenders for a tough basket. It's 11 points now. Once down by as many as 23, now it's down to 11. As the Edge slowly getting back into it. Jones, too much on the jump shot. Henry, over to Skeet now as they bring it back. Skeet, over to English. English to his left, loses it. And Maurice Jones crosses over and Skeet has to commit the foul.
Yeah, because the way the Express have been going in the second half, you don't want them to get an easy basket like that. Good heads-up play right there from Frazier to strip the ball off the weak side. So he picked up on the occasion, and it's good for the St. John's Edge that they're very aware as they are now locked in horns.
Frazier at the top of the key. To his left, cutting. Stutz for 3, too much. And Devin White taps it out, but it is collected by Jerry and Henry. Good effort there from the St. John's Edge. 7:25 to go here in the fourth quarter. 92-81, Windsor leads. Hinkle, who has 39 points around the world, goes off glass for 2. That's 41.
But I think I already picked my line of the night here this evening. Charles Hinkle. Charles Hinkle. What more can you say about this fella? Lighting it up.
Frazier, defended by English. To his right. Loses it, and it's going to be a turnover. Just losing the handle on it as he was trying to cross back over. 6:54 left in the fourth quarter. It's a 9-point game. 92-83.
The Windsor Express have been going back to their vices that they had in the last few years. Is the inability to close out in the second half. Oh my, wow.
And Hinkle makes it 44 points with another triple.
Now, last year, the high scorer was Kyle Johnson with 51 points, and JP and I were at that game, and we were amazed at this. We are in the makings of history, folks.
That's number 11 for 3 balls as Chad Frazier will draw a foul beyond the 3-point line. 11 of 16 for Charles Hinkle tonight, 44 points, 10 rebounds. He's already got the double-double. 20 points from Carl English. A tremendous effort to dig back into that deficit that they had in the third quarter. It's 92-86 now with 6:28 to go in the fourth quarter.
And you know, the other team that's good of making big comebacks in the second half is the London Lightning, and we all seen what happened to them when they butted heads with the Edge. St. John's took advantage of it because they had the lead early on, but yet they had a team of fresh legs on the bench waiting for them. So you cannot count the St. John's Edge out, as I see comments during the live chat right here. A lot of people are saying Charles Hinkle is scoring 45 and their team is still down, but look at the deficit now, folks. 7-point game. You don't want to count anybody out, especially when it comes to crunch time.
Yeah, this is the lifetime of basketball left. 6:28 to go in the fourth quarter as Chad Frazier makes the first free throw, misses the second. Look to convert the third in order to make it a 94-86 game. And he does just that. 8-point game, 94-86, 6:28 to go here in the fourth. Skeet will bring the ball up the floor for St. John's. Skeet to the basket. Can't get to convert. Recycled possession. Skeet in the corner. Off the heel, and Jones will secure the rebound.
Impressive use of the help side from the edge to make sure they clean up the board and swing the ball around.
Just over 6 minutes to go here in the fourth. 94-86, Windsor leads. Frazier on the run. Double teams. Hinkle comes up with the steal. And Jones steps in the passing lane on the give and go between Skeet and Jerry and Henry. Big play right there. Could be a big momentum swing. 5:35 to go here in the fourth. Nice job by Jaron Skeet jumping in the passing lane there as we see a pair of steals on back-to-back possessions. Jerry and Henry finds Hinkle at the 3-point line. He's got a step on. Frazier gives it over to Granny Glaze, but it is Frazier that comes in late with the block.
Back-to-back defensive stops for the Windsor Express have been monumental, all because of Maurice and that block right down there. So now the Express are going to slow things down. They're going to realize what formation the Edge is in and try to beat them on the weak side like they are right now.
Jones on the bounce. Loses it. They're going to say it's going to be St. John's ball. 5:46 to go here in the frame, and we're going to have a timeout. We're going to take a short break. When we return, more stats and facts on this game and more from around the league. We'll be right back with more Express basketball on MBO Canada TV. Welcome back, folks. Coming out of the timeout, the Windsor Express with an 8-point lead, 94-86 over the St. John's Edge. Now, no teams will be playing tomorrow on Saturday, but that is because all 10 teams will be playing on Sunday afternoon Aaron, tell the folks what slate of games we will have on Sunday.
All right, folks, are you ready? Pull out a pen and paper. You'll have enough time to pull out the popcorn, but listen, I'll tell you this. We got 2 games going on the West Coast already. We already got the Express. They'll be back on the WFCU Center to play against the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And St. John's Edge will go over to Budweiser Gardens and play against the London Lightning, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the last 3 games will be on the East Coast. They'll all start at 1 Eastern Time. Moncton Magic versus the Riptide. The River Lions will go up to Center 200 to play against the Highlanders, and the Storm will play at the Scotiabank Center to play against the Halifax Hurricanes.
As you see a triple from Carl English to cut the deficit to 5 points. 4:35 to go here in the fourth quarter. Carl English, 23 points now for the St. John's Edge. And we will see a turnover from the Windsor Express. 4:25 to go here in the fourth quarter, and the momentum seemingly turning in the way of the St. John's Edge, Aaron.
A costly mistake. Shaq didn't have his eyes on the ball, and he wasn't ready for that pass, so he had no choice but to get flustered and fret about that opportunity.
And on defense, the Windsor Express come up with a steal. Devin White steps in the passing lane and comes up with that one as Shaq Keith dishes it out to Maurice Jones. 4 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter, folks. Brett Hedges and Aaron Sanders on the call. Shaq Keith going to go one-on-one with Charles Hinkle. White behind the 3 line. Off the mark. Rebounded by Carl English. Hinkle. Over to Henry, driving baseline. Granny Glaze can't hang on to it. And it's going to be Windsor Express ball after it's tapped out of bounds. 3:30 to go here in the fourth.
That's a crying shame, too, because if that pass would have gone, that would have opened up a lot of opportunity for the Edge.
3 players in double-digit scoring for the St. John's Edge. 44 from Hinkle, 23 from English, and 11 from Alex Johnson. Maurice Jones for the Windsor Express. 3:20 to go here. Surveying his options. He's got 10 to shoot. Works around the double team. Around the defender, Shaq Keith with a hesitation. Driving. Can't finish in tight. And a quick pass from English to Hinkle, and that makes it a 3-point game. 3 minutes to go here. And Hinkle has 46.
And look at that. A 1-possession game. Only 1 3 will just do it for them, and they'll get back into it.
Jones off the glass, draws the foul. We'll go to the free throw line. Maurice Jones, so shifty, so crafty, is able to contort his body and draw fouls. It's the reason why he led the league in assists last year, set a new record, 320 assists. He's at the free throw line now with a couple of big free throws for the Express.
He's been elegant during his time for the Windsor Express. I remember before the playoffs started last season, Brett, me and JP went down to their open practice at the Atlas Tube Center where they had to play during the postseason, and we've seen a lot of improvements from him, and one in particular is dribbling under pressure and being trapped in the wings, so he's doing a good job of that.
He knocks down 1 of 2 free throws and makes it 95-94. 2:40 to go here in the fourth quarter. St. John's looking to execute. Johnson at the free throw line, kicks it out to Hinkle.
Oh.
And coming over late was Devin White. Hinkle got the call. We'll go to the free throw line. Charles Hinkle, an incredible display of scoring prowess in tonight's game. We'll go to the free throw line for a pair at a couple of more.
Everything's going his way tonight. A lot of people are in shock and in admiration of what this man could do. I mean, there's 2 accolades he could achieve here tonight before this week is over. Number 1, line of the night. You got to have that. And number 2, he could be player of the week for the 2nd time this year. So a lot riding on him tonight as he keeps on adding more to his score sheet.
47 now for Hinkle. Just for reference, league record is 56, set by Devin Sweetney back in Moncton in 2013.
Goes to show how far we have come in the early stages of the NBLC. Now in its 7th season, the Windsor Express in their 6th season, and the Edge playing like they've been in this league for a long time. Look at the resiliency on these fellas.
Hinkle with 48, made the 2 free throws there. It's a 95-93 game. Maurice Jones finds a cutting. Logan sets for 2. 2:05 to go. Express back up 4. Jerry and Henry on offense for St. John's. Over to Alex Johnson, defended by Brayson. Gets a screen, stops, pops. Can't make a drop. Maurice Jones with the rebound. Big battle there between Jerry and Henry and Devin White, and now they're forcing Maurice Jones up the floor. Quick pass over to Rayson, and he can't knock down the 3 ball. 1:35 to go, 97-93. Hinkle for 3. Off the mark, but Granny Glaze with another offensive board. Back to Hinkle. To Johnson. No. Rebound, it goes to Hinkle once again. Carl English, wide open.
Ice water in his veins right there. Carl
Triple.
English.
97-96, 1:17 to go here in the 4th quarter. Not sure whether timeout was called on the floor or not. A little bit of confusion on the floor. 97-96, 1:16 to play. We're going to stay back here. Not sure. Maybe. Regardless, 97-96, 1:17 to go. The Express will have the ability to inbound. And now it all comes down to time and score. 1:17 to go. You got to execute. A win in the division is on the line.
I don't want to go down there, Brett, but you know, duty calls right there. It's a close game. Dude, stay in your seat, folks. You're in for a good one. Oh,
Shaquille for 3. He's off the mark. Rebounded by Jerry and Henry. As Alex Superman Johnson has the ball with under a minute to play. 55 seconds to go, to be exact. Hinkle on the bounce. Gonna draw the foul against Shaq Keith. Hinkle had just been incredible this evening. Draws the foul against Shaq Keith with exactly 50 seconds to go here. That's Shaq's 4th, team 4th of the quarter. So on the next foul, it will be shooting fouls, unless it's an offensive foul. So with 50 seconds to go, a lot to think about for both squads. Hinkle to the free throw line, he cuts it. And it's a tie game, 97-97. One more to come from Charles Hinkle. Looking to break 50 in the game. And he does just that. 50 points for Charles Hinkle. His team's up 98-97. A big surge from the Express in the 3rd quarter has been quelled by the offensive juggernaut that is the St. John's Edge. Shaq Keith on the bounce, draws a foul against Charles Hinkle now. Those guys going at each other. So with 36.2 seconds to go, the Shaq Keith will have an opportunity to take the lead for the Express. Hinkle and Keith having a conversation at the free throw line. Shaq Keith shooting around 77% from the free throw line. Ties the game up there, 98 apiece. 36.2 seconds to go. It's 98-98. What an exciting game this has been in the first ever meeting between the St. John's Edge and the Windsor Express here at the WFCU Center. Shaq Keith knocks down the second. 99-98, and we're going to have a timeout here for the St. John's Edge. So that will advance the ball from the baseline into the front court. A 1-minute timeout on the floor. I'm going to step aside for a few moments, collect some stats and facts, and I'm going to come in as we close out the 4th quarter here between the St. John's Edge and the Windsor Express. I'll be right back, folks. Welcome back, folks. Hope you've got your puffers ready, because this could go right down to the very last moments. Here, as our old friend Alejandro would say, is not for those with heart conditions or not for the faint of heart or many of those quips. The St. John's Edge have 35.8 seconds and the ball to try and get a basket or force a stop. 99-98 the score for the Windsor Express. 36 seconds to go in the game. Hinkle's got 50. English has got 26. Hinkle from 3. It's good. Oh my goodness, Charles Hinkle. Woo, baby. That's his 12th three-pointer of the game. And he gives the St. John's Edge a 101-99 lead here in the last minute of the fourth quarter. I don't think I've ever witnessed an offensive performance quite like this. Hinkle, 12 of 18 from the three-point line, 12 rebounds, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, 18 and 25 altogether from the field. 53 points, my goodness. Followed closely by Carl English. He has 26 points. He's knocked down 6 threes as well. As a team, the St. John's Edge have knocked down 19 three-pointers in the game. Alex Johnson has a 3-ball as well and 11 points. Just 3 members of the St. John's Edge in double digits. The Windsor Express, however, have had a balanced scoring on the night, led by Chad Frazier with 21 points, 18 points from Logan Stutz, 13 from Braylon Rayson, 13 from Devin White to go along with 11 rebounds, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists for Maurice Jones, and 12 points from Shaquille Keith. So a lot of options for the Windsor Express on this offensive possession. Everyone's been able to score a couple times tonight. But if it's me, I'd look inside first, maybe at Stutz or White, and then go outside for the sharpshooter Braylon Rayson. Let's see how it goes. 25.2 seconds to go here. Thanks for tuning in, folks, from across NBL Canada fandom land. Jones on the inbound. Playing a two-man game, got to go inside to Shaq Keith. Defended by Alex Johnson. Quick pass in the corner for Devin White. No good. Rebound. And that's going to be a foul on the offensive rebound. Shaq Keith had it. And they're going to, no, they're not going to say basket's good, pardon me. It's going to be a foul on the floor, 11.4 seconds to go. 101-99 the score. St. John's up, trying to close it out with a defensive stop. Windsor unable to convert on the 3-ball from Devin White. Shaq Keith had the offensive rebound. You're going to call the foul on the floor, and now Windsor's going to call another timeout. Just over 11 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter. St. John's 101, the Windsor Express 99. One thing these fans can't say that this wasn't an exciting game. 101-99. Windsor held a big lead in the third quarter off some fantastic shooting. Slowly but surely, the St. John's Edge pounded away, chipping away at that lead, and finally took one of their own. A few minutes left here in this fourth quarter. It has been a battle. Jeff Dunlop's team, the St. John's Edge, performing at a very high level. 7-3, first in the NBL Canada Central Division. The Windsor Express 3-3 so far this year. There's just their second home game of the season. Both these teams will have a day off tomorrow before competing on Sunday night. St. John's will battle the London Lightning in London, while the Windsor Express will host the KW Titans. Both those games are going to be available on YouTube, of course. I'll be on the call for the Express game. Always a pleasure broadcasting for you folks. So with 11.4 seconds to go, the Windsor Express will have an inbound on the St. John's baseline. Maybe look for a basket in tight first. Jones for three. No, that's off the mark. Jones wasn't quite set when he took that shot, and Jerry and Henry will collect the rebounds. Still a lot of time. That is going to be a shooting foul because Windsor has over 5 fouls in the quarter. Desmond Hubert will check out. Devin White will check in. Good job by Desmond Hubert to grab that loose ball that was knocked away. So we're going to have a foul. We're going to have an inbound here. And Maurice Jones will foul Carl English with 5.3 seconds to go. So they have one more foul, one more inbound, as Windsor has one more foul to give before shooters. 101.99 is go. As Mike Achampong will check into the game now for Logan Stutz. Jerry and Henry will throw the ball in. Broadus has checked in. So Windsor hoping to draw a steal, and Carl English is fouled by Maurice Jones, who's trying to make something happen on that inbound. So English will go to the free throw line with 4.7 seconds to play. And we'll look to ice this victory for the Edge. Carl English. 26 points on the night, 6 of 7 shooting the three. Knocks down the first, so makes it a 3-point game. Hey, even if he makes the second one, we could see a made 3 ball and a foul. So this shot is huge. And he knocks down the shot. Windsor will call timeout with 4.7 seconds to go. We'll drop a good shot opportunity. Jeff Dunlap's team will be told just not to foul. And they will look to secure their 8th win of the regular season and move toward a Sunday afternoon matchup with the London Lightning. Look at some of our team stats here. A lot of balanced scoring for the Windsor Express today, as we said, but what a fantastic display of scoring from Charles Hinkle. Just 3 players for the St. John's Edge figuring in double digits, but that is more than enough to come back from a big deficit in the third quarter, take a lead late, and it looks to me that they've almost shut the door on another victory here in the NBL Canada. Once more, 53 points from Charles Hinkle. 53, that is just 3 points off of the league record set by Devin Sweetney in 2013. Let's go with 28 points from Carl English on 6 of 7 shooting from 3, 8 of 19 from the field. Alex Johnson had 11 points. Granny Glaze with 6, 4 from Desmond Lee, Wally Ellenson with 2, and Rudolph Jolly with 1. So Windsor will inbound, look for a 3 right off the bat. To Rayson. He's going to be pushed off the line. He's going to rise, let it go, and it won't go. That's going to be the game. The St. John's Edge come back from 23 down and win in Windsor 103-99. Fantastic game led by the incredible performance by Charles Hinkle. 53 points. Something we're going to be chopping up and showcasing for the rest of the world to see. As we go downstairs to Justin Prince and Aaron Sanders for the post-game show. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you. 103-99 is the final score. And what happened? A nail-biter to boot. JP, a lot of people counted the St. John's Edge out after being down by 20, but as alluded to over and over again, you do not count anybody down out. We've seen it happen from the Lightning, and tonight we've seen it from the Edge. And Charles Hinkle, 53 points.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start with that, because Charles Hinkle had a night for the ages, so to speak, Aaron, because the NBLC record for points in a game is 56. He was 3 points away from that. He was 1 3-pointer away from the league record for three-pointers in a game from tying that. I don't even know what to say with Charles Hinkle because he just absolutely shot the lights out, especially with his big first half. And in the end, his shots in the late going really sealed it for St. John, as well with Carl English. But, as you mentioned, St. John was able to just claw their way back because Windsor's offense seemed to sputter, especially in that fourth quarter. Even with the turnovers St. John's had, they still were making their triples on the outside and still making some shots on the inside, even when some of the low post passes were still stolen. So they still, as you said, you can never count a team out, especially in this league.
And didn't we say at halftime about the second options? Like, say, for example, if they double team Charles Hinkle, to go to Carl English, and boy, did they do it in more ways than one. You got to credit the Windsor Express on the other hand. Shaq, Keith, Logan Stutz trying to keep everybody into this game. Maurice Jones, defensively, he was a powerhouse considering how this game went. But you know what? Hats off to them. But once again, they fell into their vices and they could not maintain that lead. What were some of the factors in that?
I think some of the factors with that, for one, like I said, was just the shooting in the end, because Windsor just seemed to slow down with their shooting, especially with a lot of their shots as well. Free throws were also a big factor. They had just 13 attempts from the line, but made just 7 of them. That is not how you win a game. You had left 6 points off the board. Guess how much points you lost by? 4 points. You make at least 4 of those, you're maybe in overtime right now. It could be a major difference or a key change with that as well. You know, with some of the other statistics, if you look at some of these stats as well, they just got out-rebounded at times as well. Basically, especially on the defensive glass, a plus 9 advantage, I should say, pardon me, for St. John in this one. So they just could not keep up with the rebound game. And so it seemed they just could not keep up because in the end, if you look at it, St. John just found a way to grind their way back for a comeback and find a way to move themselves into the lead in the late going here.
And once again, overall, a plus 11 on the boards for the St. John's Edge. And a lot of things that we could imagine that could go down tonight. We were part of history, even though he did not hit the record breaker right there. Once again, one thing to take in, Charles Hinkle, and the other to take in, you know, Shaquille Keith. He was cold at the start, and he started to warm up and everything else. Despite the loss, I am still impressed at the Windsor Express bench and how they were able to produce such tough tenacious calls along the way. I mean, even though St. John's got a little bit over their heads, especially with the technical fouls and the rejections, the heart of the game did not go anywhere because both of these teams, they brought it here tonight.
Yeah, they brought it here, that's for sure, because you mentioned, for example, Shaquille Keith, for example. He just reached, as the 10th Canadian to reach 1,000 regular season points in his MBLC career with his performance in the first half, where he had about 10 points at the time he moved into that plateau. But, of course, there's a lot of different positives I think you can take if you're the Windsor Express, because you have Chad Frazier, who led the way with scoring, for example. You have Braylon Raisin continuing to make shots. And they had some similar shots go in that third quarter to what you saw in London, it seemed, at times. But in the end, as you mentioned, a lot of it was the bench. An 18-7 advantage, 11-point advantage for the bench for Windsor over St. John. So Windsor's definitely got a lot of depth to them, for sure, and that's a definite positive for them. But it's just, you got to make sure you close out a game like this, especially after allowing a 20-point comeback after you came back from a 5-point deficit yourself and after the first half.
And you know there's going to be a lot to discuss, especially when they run back the tape and see what they could do, because they got a short amount of time to recover for KW, because that's who they're going up against this Sunday. So what are going to have to be some of the game plans and the adjustments to be thought out before they have this Sunday afternoon tilt against the Titans?
I think one of the main things you have to do is basically a lot of shot decision making in some points, because there were, in my opinion, some not so smart decisions in terms of shot selection. Specifically, no offense to Devin White, he was 1 for 5 from 3, including a big shot with about 30 seconds to go that missed. You got to make sure you get the shot selection correctly. Also continue to keep things going with what you need to do in terms of the points in the paint, because that was their bread and butter for Windsor tonight. The next major thing, though, free throws. You got to make your free throw attempts. It's now updated, by the way, to 9 of 15 from the line, which is 60%. Not good. You cannot have that as a team against a team like Kitchener-Waterloo on Sunday, because if you go to the line a lot and mess up the opportunities, they're going to keep trying to draw fouls and bring you to the line so they can get themselves back into a similar situation if need be, as it happened tonight against St. John.
Well, when the buzzer rings, both of these clubs put on an admirable effort. Both of these clubs, living up to the expectations of them, shooting in the mid-40s as far as field goals are concerned. But as you could see, once again, the Windsor Express were unable to maintain that 20-point lead they had at the second half. So we wrap it up right there. Once again, final score, St. John's Edge, 103. Taking off a big victory from the WFCU Center against the Windsor Express, 99. So we have a plethora of games going on Sunday. All 10 teams are playing. London's playing London's playing St. John's, however, so St. John, they're not out of the mill yet because they haven't gone east yet, but they're doing a good job there too.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun matchup to watch for sure. That one, of course, going to be on Knoxstrom TV's coverage for that in London. But as long as they keep what they've been doing going, because they moved to 8-3, and one thing I should really note was the 29-12 run in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
That was a major thing. If you keep up that kind of scoring production against a team like London, in where they've been somewhat struggling on the defensive side so far, the defending champions, you're going to be in a good situation, if you're St. John, to move yourself to a 75% win percentage in your road trip here, your overall, I should say, for your record, I should say. So it's a good, big opportunity for them.
All right. We're going to say goodnight right now. Once again, 103-99 is the score. Next game's coming up Sunday afternoon. We'll have a pre-game show around 1:15 Eastern Daylight Time. So Sunday night, the Windsor Express play against the KW Titans. Be there. We're out of here, folks, and we thank you once again for tuning in tonight. It has been a great night. A big shout-out to the crew who has worked out here on Express TV for their coverage here tonight. So for JP, Justin, Prince, and for everybody here, till next time, this be Aaron Sanders saying so long from the Rose City.